Hey everyone, this is Jason Long with Brainleaf, and today we're going to be talking about a website or application or SaaS system scope of work and all the things that goes into that scope of work or SOW. So the things that generally go into a scope of work are the contract, the creative brief, the information architecture, project flows or wireframes, and your project plan. And for each, we're going to cover each one of those items real briefly today. So first off, the contract. The contract is going to talk about things like who's paying for what? What are the milestones? What are you responsible for? What are they responsible for? There's so much stuff that goes into a contract that if you're not familiar with how to do a website contract or a application contract, there's a whole section on how to do this in the Brainleaf book. I highly recommend you take a look at that. So next is the creative brief. A creative brief, which you can look up online, and there's tons and tons of examples out there, is something that's going to talk about why you're doing the project. What are the goals of the project? Who is the project focused on? What is your target market? How do you identify those people? What are their characteristics? All sorts of things. If you're not familiar with a creative brief, I also recommend you go take a look at those online. There's tons of templates out there. In the blog article that is going to be attached to this video, I'll have some links as well in that article. Next, we've got the information architecture. So the information architecture is really what Brainleaf does. The information architecture is a page-by-page, section-by-section, element-by-element description of everything you're doing. And also, by the way, feature-by-feature description of what you're building and how each one of these items should work. And in addition to that, it generally should have how many hours it's going to take to design, develop, manage, and test, and write content on, or a variety of other tasks, each one of these things on a granular level. If you take the time to write out your full, in-depth information architecture, your project will move very smoothly because there won't be any questions. Everyone will know what they're doing before they get started. It's a critical piece of the entire system, and it's one of the biggest things, in my opinion, that everybody screws up. So that's that. All right, next item is the project flows. The project flows are wireframes or general mock-ups. Sometimes, it kind of depends on what you're building and the complexity of it, but definitely wireframes. And you don't necessarily have to have all of these things up front, and the wireframes are kind of the one thing that some teams do a little bit later in the game. But it's really important. Like having those wireframes along with that information architecture just makes the whole project so smooth when you get into the development of the system. All right, and then next, you've got your project plan. Once you've got your information architecture with all of your hours, you've got your wireframes showing what everything's going to be, how everything's basically going to flow. You've got your full architecture written with every single functionality, every single question answered. Then you can put together a really thorough project plan that shows you who's doing what, when they're doing it, what things are going to get done, at what time, how much money each thing is going to cost. You can put together thorough Gantt charts on all of these things. You can prepare your burn down charts. If you don't know what this is, if you don't know what a burn down chart is, take a look at the Atlassian Agile Guide online. That's a great resource for all of these kinds of reporting and project management and agile development, etc. Anyway, you can put together this huge, great project plan and be super specific and do a great job managing your project when you're ready to finally start. So those are the 5 things that go into a project scope. I'm going to cover them one more time just so we don't forget. And that was the contract, the creative brief, the information architecture, your project flows, and your project plan. Once you have those 5 items, then you can get started on the development of your project. And well, the design, the development, a lot of other pieces. But really, you can get going on the project after you have those things. If you need more help with this, ask some questions in the comments. I'm happy to help you guys out. And if you're looking for a way to develop that information architecture, take a look at Brainleaf. Thanks so much. Have a great day. I hope this is helpful.